Yo, Kpaceguy here.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? Kpaceguy here. Today we are going to talk about something real serious, and that's if dual subwoofers are even necessary. It's floating around there that it's better to get 2 subs than to get 1. It's better to get 2 PB2000s than 1 PB4000. Blah blah blah. So we're gonna talk about that right now in this video and help you guys make a decision. Should you get 2 subwoofers? Should you get 1? And why? Stay tuned.
Perfect.
So a lot of times I get a lot of comments on various videos about should I get this subwoofer or 2 of these subwoofers? Do I really need 2? Should I get more than 2? Is 1 okay? And we're gonna go and answer that question for the mass community right here in this video. We're gonna get right into it. The answer is yes, you should get 2 subwoofers or more. Depending on how big your room is, you may be able to get away with 1. Depending on who's listening, if it's just you or maybe one other person, you may be able to get away with 1. But if you have a rather large room, not even a large room, but maybe a medium-sized room and up, or if you're listening to a lot of movies with a lot of people, you're gonna want more than 1. And the reason is this. When you're listening to movies, when you're watching movies, I should say, any kind of movie, anything that has any kind of bass in it whatsoever, you're going to hear pretty good replication of sound wherever you are. Bass travels omnidirectional, it goes anywhere you want. It's hard to localize it, but there's nulls and peaks in every single room, no matter what room, no matter what size, no matter how tall the ceilings are, no matter how big or how small, you're gonna have issues with the bass. That's the hardest thing to get correct. And so the easiest way to correct a lot of that issue, especially when you can't run calibration or you don't have a microphone to kind of fix the sub's frequencies, the best thing to do is just get another sub. If you're running 1 subwoofer, it may sound good in your listening position, but if you walk around your room, you'll start to hear different drops and peaks in the sound. And that's because frequencies don't move evenly everywhere in the room. It may sound good in one spot, and it may be completely non-existent in another spot. And that's what a second subwoofer is supposed to do. It's not supposed to add extra power, it's not supposed to add extra sound, although it does. That's not what you get 2 subwoofers for. What you get 2 or more subwoofers for is to try to even out that bass response. So, for example, I'll show you guys here. You guys see in my system, I have a PB4000 way over there in the corner here, and then I have one in the opposing corner right there. And let me tell you, I've gone through and kind of messed with this. I've unplugged 1 subwoofer and kind of listened and walked around the room. And you have a lot of uneven bass when you do that. One part of the room sounds really boomy and kind of bad. Another place sounds completely non-existent with bass. There's no sound whatsoever coming from the subwoofers. And then one spot sounds beautiful. Of course, that's gonna be my sweet spot right there on the couch. So when I plugged in my second subwoofer, those places that didn't have any bass at all sounded much better, much fuller. Parts that already had a lot of bass, it didn't get worse, it sounded the same. So you're not adding to any of your existing issues, but you're not correcting any of your existing issues other than the response smoothness across the room. So getting a second subwoofer doesn't add a lot of volume. You're not going to get double the bass. You're not going to get double the low notes. What you're doing is adding even more response to the system itself. You can think about it like this. You see I have a left and a right speaker. I got my left one there, I got my right one there. If I was to unplug one of those speakers, now one side of my room sounds, kind of complete. Of course, you have music and movies coming from that side, but my left side of my room doesn't sound the same. Of course, I can still hear that speaker over here on the left side of the room, but it doesn't sound correct because I'm missing another speaker on my left side. And that's kind of how the subwoofers work too. You may have some really good sound coming from the subwoofer across the room, but you don't have any bass coming from the other side of the room. And the best thing to do is to get another subwoofer. Getting a second subwoofer really helps with an even response across the whole listening position. So for example, that blue pillow right there, let's say that's my seating position. I like to sit right there, and it sounds really good. But then I have a friend come over, and he sits over there on the long chair there, and he's like, dude, I'm not getting any bass. Are your speakers on? I'm like, yeah, man, it sounds really good over here. But if I move to his spot, he's hearing a totally different experience than what I am. And what that subwoofer allows you to do is to make sure that everybody is getting the same experience throughout the entire listening position. You're still gonna have problems with peaks and nulls where bass doesn't sound good or bass doesn't sound existent. You're still gonna have those issues. And of course, you can always add more subwoofers depending on if your room allows them. You guys can see my room as I pan through it. It's not a big room at all. And these subwoofers are rather big. And so I can't really do too much with getting a lot of subwoofers in here. 1 or 2 is probably the most I really need in this room because you're only going to be sitting right there. So you only need to treat the spots that you're going to be sitting in. Of course, as you walk through the room, if I was to walk from where I'm at now and walk across the room, I'm going to hear a difference in response of bass. And the point of getting 2 or more subwoofers is to make sure that you can get as much even response as you can as you walk around the room. Of course, it doesn't matter too much on every spot of the room because you're not going to be sitting there. You're not going to be sitting there often. But when I'm sitting down in my listening position, I want to be able to hear the same replication of bass and movies and music every spot on that couch. So that's the importance of getting dual. So should you go dual? Yes, you should. If you have the room to go higher, go get 3 subwoofers, go get 4. The more subwoofers you have, the more even response is going to be, although calibrating them will be a little bit more difficult because you have to make sure that every sub is compliant with what you're watching and what you're going to be listening to. And of course you want them to be in agreement with each other. You want each subwoofer to be working together, not against each other. So the more subwoofers you have, the more tweaking you're going to have to do, but you're going to start finding that more spots in the room are going to be more sweet and more bass sounding. So that's the points I want to give you guys about getting dual. I'm always going to go dual. A lot of people ask me, for example, should I get 2 PB2000s or 1 PB4000? And I always say PB2000s because you're always going to have a better sound with 2 subwoofers than you are 1. So I would never get 1 of these if I could get 2 of something else, ever. I would never do it unless my room is just that small and I can get away with it. And I'm talking pretty small, maybe bedroom size or almost the size of my living room. I could almost do it. But of course I have 2 because I've always had 2. But I will never change from dual to anything less than dual subwoofers because the experience that you have will change drastically. Of course, there are small little scientific things you get when you dual your subwoofers. You get a 3 decibel increase, maybe even 6. Some people have gotten 6. I've only got 4, maybe 5. I haven't really tested it in this room, but some people get up to a 6 decibel increase, which is humans hear in 3 decibel increases, so you don't notice a difference unless you go up at least 3 decibels per volume level. So you won't be able to hear a difference, but when you start getting another subwoofer, you add 3 decibels, and then you get another subwoofer, you add 3 decibels. So once you start adding subwoofers, you start to actually hear an increase in overall bass volume. And what that allows you to do is to turn that gain knob down on that subwoofer and turn it down on that subwoofer, because overall you're getting just a tad louder experience without having to work your subwoofers as hard, which is really nice because it adds longevity to your system. You don't have to turn it up as loud. You don't have to crank it as loud to get the same volume. You can turn it down a little bit and still hit that reference level volume without blowing your speakers potentially. So there's a lot of different benefits to getting dual speakers. It's the way to go, guys. If you don't have dual, definitely look at getting dual. If you're looking at getting any kind of subwoofers, whether it be the PB4000s right there in front of you, or if it's a clip speaker, if it's a Paradigm, if it's another SVS, not this one right here, or if it's any kind of subwoofer you guys are looking at, if you are looking at them right now, keep dual in mind when you're buying your subwoofer, because you're gonna want to get 2. So you may have the budget to get 1 PB4000 for, around $2,000, but if you can get 2 PB3000s for a little bit less than that, do that instead. You'll actually have a better experience with your sound when you get that lesser sub but get 2 of them than getting the higher end sub and getting 1 of them. So if you're looking on the market right now for subwoofers, keep in mind that you're going to want to have 2. And if you're unsure if you need 2 or if you need 3 or if you just need 1, you're welcome to leave me a comment down below on this video and I will tell you the answer. Just give me your room specs, or you're even welcome to send me a picture of it on my YouTube, or not my YouTube channel, but my email that goes to my YouTube is xbox youtube@live.com. That's what email I use that's associated with my YouTube. So if you want to leave a comment or send me pictures of your room, I can definitely tell you if I think you should use 2, 1, 3, whatever. Just tell me the subwoofer that you're looking at and I'll tell you what you need to do. So guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I just want to let you guys know that getting dual subwoofers or more is the way to go. You may be able to get away with it, but most likely you'll benefit more from having dual. So if you're getting a 4000, maybe look at a 3000 and get 2 of those instead of one 4000. Or if you're getting a Klipsch 15-inch subwoofer and you only want, you know, one, maybe look into getting the 12-inch version and get 2 of those. Just keep that in mind when you're out there purchasing, because it really makes a big difference. So guys, if I helped you out at all in this video, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what subwoofers are you using. Are you using 2? Are you using 1? Do you have any subwoofers at all, and what are you looking at? Hit that like button with your nose today. It's the nose challenge this week. Hit that like button with the nose, and then smack that subscribe button with the back of your hand. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Kpaceguy out.